So we're rolling. Okay, so first order of business, just want to say hi to everybody. Thank you for joining us today. If you're joining us later on the recording, that is cool. Thank you so much for doing that. Um, I gotta, I have to ask everybody just right off, straight up, really important question. Does anybody have any neck pain, any soreness in their neck? Anybody? Any neck pain? Just from how fast week one went by. I mean, for real. It's like it never ceases to amaze me how fast things move here at Full Sail University. I'm telling you, you'll feel it. You know, it's you. I'm not even kidding. I'm not exaggerating. You have to be at the top of your game. You really do. Always, not just in this class, but all throughout your full sail degree, because things move really fast. And hence, that's the reason why I always, kind of nag about. I don't mean to be a nag, but I like to share some insight and what helps, what will some survival tips like time management. So really, really try to get a handle on that. Um, I think a lot of us kind of maybe, got, learned or realized, discovered real quick that can't procrastinate, with these assignments because there's a lot to digest. It's trying to, start an assignment on a Saturday or Sunday. That's a doozy. It's tough. It really, really is tough. And yeah, you don't need that kind of stress in your life, right? No bueno. Okay, so yeah, let's roll. I can't believe it's week two. It's exciting. Let's why don't we start with this awesome quote here? Why do we fall, sir? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up. Yes, indeed. Jimmy nailed it. Jimmy guessed the quote. Also found on the Dark Knight, I believe they say it, but I could be wrong. Anyway, Batman Begins is correct. This is an awesome quote. I love this quote, and I share it for many reasons. First of all, it's an awesome film, awesome trilogy by director Christopher Nolan. If you haven't seen the film, just you should just leave right now. No, I'm kidding. I kid you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, awesome, awesome film. I share it because I love the message behind it. I really do. It's an important message that we all need to kind of hear and adhere to, right? All throughout our degree and everything we do, especially after this week, the first week, maybe especially when with grades rolling in, which I'll talk a little bit about grades and so on. Um, maybe if for whatever reason you didn't get the grade you wanted, so you feeling kind of down, kind of rotten, do not feel down, do not feel rotten. Just get back up, and see what areas you need to improve on. And that's it, as long as you adhere to that kind of message, that philosophy through whatever degree you're in, you'll do well. You'll do well, and there's as far as failing, in my perception, the only kind of failure is when you don't try at all. When there's zero effort, right? You just kind of like throw your hands in the air. That's failure. But when you try, when you bust your butt and you fail, hey, you can, as long as you learn from that, you're going to be the better. You are going to be the better for it, and your art is going to be stronger, right? Some of our favorite artists, regardless of whether they're filmmakers or artists or musicians or songwriters or those tech geniuses that we know and love and appreciate it, whoever they are, they had their share of failures, really, really, no lie. And I always find it interesting to study people like that because you see that their journey wasn't always just uh, you know constant paychecks, constant success. There were some failures along the road, but they learned from it, they got back up, and they did even better. So keep that in mind, right? All right, Let's roll. So, you might be asking yourself, what should you be doing? Obviously, a couple things, but yeah, obviously your homework. You want to be this week, you want to jump into the 2.4 and 2.3 assignments as soon as possible, which I will be discussing throughout this entire session. So, this entire session, if you read over the instructions for both those assignments, and you're kind of foggy, I'm going to try to break it down a little bit. I'll be showing you guys some samples and stuff like that. All right. Also, as soon as you can, check your recording capabilities, whatever device you're using, whether it's a phone or a tablet, desktop, laptop, whatever. Maybe after the session, see what kind of recording capabilities you have to work with, right? So I don't want to get into that right now because, like I said, this whole session I'm going to be talking about the 2.3 and the 2.4 assignment. So also you'll want to begin exploring some kind of presentation program that suits your current device. So like whatever you're using, iPhone, like I said earlier, now is probably a good time to start checking to see, do you want to go with PowerPoint? Do you want to go with Adobe Spark? Do you want to go with Keynote? Um, the choice is yours, but it's also really depending on what your current device is. So that's one of the reasons why we don't specifically say, hey, you have to use this program, because we realize everybody's using something different. So it's better if we kind of leave it up to what the capabilities of your device is. So yeah, like for example, if you have an iPhone and you don't know what you want to use, you just go on the internet and conduct a search like best presentation programs for iPhone. Yeah, and you'll see something pull up real quick. Folks, if you hear the mute button on my side go clicking on and off, it's because I'm probably coughing my lungs out, and I don't want to cause any of you to go deaf. So my apologies about that. I'm hanging in there. Anywho, let's roll. So a little bit more. Okay, so yeah, you'll also want to, and this is also really really important. You want to immerse yourself, whatever field you're in. If you're in music production, if you're in graphic design, if you are in what's another one, computer animation, you're going to want to immerse yourself in your industry. So my advice, because there's never a perfect time for this, because you certainly don't want to wait until you graduate to do it. I would do it now. Do it now. So my advice would be to visit the FS Connect site like every day. Check out check out what's going on, because there's always something going on here at Full Sail. There's always industry panels. There's always workshops that you can attend. So really, really try to look through which ones that you can attend, even if it sounds like, oh, this one really doesn't apply to you. Well, maybe it does, and maybe you'll meet an important connection by attending. So yeah, definitely check them out. So yeah, attend workshops online or even in your town. See what's going on around your town. Now's the time to network. Sorry. Yeah, this is just lynda.com. You guys know about lynda.com, yes? Lynda.com. Don't wait until you need it. Have this kind of mentality that you need it now. Lynda.com. Remember last week I talked about it? It's kind of like a gold mine of video tutorials on so many software programs and subjects. Like for example, let's say you haven't used PowerPoint in a while and you kind of want to brush up on it. Check out lynda.com. Lynda.com's got a ton of tutorials on PowerPoint, Adobe Spark, Keynote, lots and lots of others. So sorry, folks. Just kind of reading some of these comments. So the way to log into lynda.com for free, remember you have to log into FS Connect first. Once you're in FS Connect, visit the library, click on the library, and once you see the library, you'll see lynda.com in there. So that's the only way that you'll be able to use lynda.com for free. Cool? Is that right, everybody? Everyone? Hello? Okay, cool. All right, just want to make sure. Okay, so again, as always, just a little reminder, these sessions are recorded, and I will warn you ahead of time. I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff. I'm going to go over a lot of stuff, a lot of details about the 2.3 and 2.4 assignment. So try to soak in as much as possible. If you want to take notes, cool. It's totally up to you. I just want to remind you that the session is recorded, so I don't want you to feel overwhelmed at all. Just keep that in the back of your mind. But I will say this, try to pay attention as much as possible, because the more you pay attention now, then the less likely you'll have to go back to the recording and watch the entire thing from beginning to end, right? But if you don't pay any attention at all, yeah, you'll probably have to go back and watch it a second and third time. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, you guys know, those of you who attended last week's session, awesome. I applaud you. I commend you. Your assignments probably reflected that, and I think you'll be pleased with the results of your grades, which I'll talk a little bit in a second. Anyway, so yeah. Again, another reminder, if you can't attend these live sessions, you need to watch the recording, because as you discovered last week, and as you will discover this session as well, I go over a lot of details, right? Yeah, and yeah, don't. Yeah. Funny thing about us mortals, we mortals, we like to think that we can multitask. I hate to break it to you, but we can't. We can try to kind of pretend to multitask, and maybe we can get away with some things, but yeah, you're gonna miss out on a lot of things if you're like watching Netflix while you're trying to watch this session at the same time. So yeah, my recommendation, don't try it. Don't try it. You will miss out on something. All right. So yeah, let's roll. So good question, Nicholas. Perfect timing. So yeah, so the 1.4 and 1.3 grades, and yeah, about that feedback. So you're going to see grades trickling in all day today and all day tomorrow for both the 1.3 and the 1.4 assignment. So you're going to see two things. You're going to see a grade, a number grade, but you'll also see feedback. So I will provide you some notes as far as the objectives of the assignment, as well as some things that maybe some areas that need improvement, some recommendations and suggestions, and that kind of thing. As far as the feedback, ladies and gentlemen, please don't take it personally. Don't take it personally at all. It's the feedback is designed to provide you with some direction, to provide you with some guidance as far as like, okay, good job here. Remember, you needed to include some visuals or some pictures also, that kind of thing. Please don't take it personally. Don't take it personally at all. That's all it is. It's just feedback. It's just constructive feedback, and it's designed to give you a little direction. Cool. And if you have a question about a grade, please just email me. I'm happy to discuss it. Unfortunately, I can't discuss grades, during these sessions because it's private, right? All right. Sorry. Yeah, it's embarrassing. I can't help it. I am doing my best to stifle those nasty coughs. Anywho, yes, the like I said, the grades will be trickling in all day today and all day tomorrow. Unfortunately, that is as fast as I can get those grades back to you. I'm grading at a feverish rate. Um, so yeah, and it's just me. It is just me grading these. Okay. So also, yeah, be resourceful. I have this little thing right here because I want you to kind of think ahead, plan ahead, try to get the assignments in as soon as you can. Definitely don't wait till the last minute. But if you happen to run into any kind of tech issues, this is the number you want to call. So if you didn't do it last week, definitely screenshot this baby right here, 855-374-3572. And if you still can't submit for whatever reason, you can use Dropbox or something like that. Something like Dropbox. Anybody use Dropbox? Dropbox is pretty user friendly, pretty free, pretty handy. And when you're in a pinch and you need to share a file or whatever. But yeah, your best bet you can't beat just planning ahead. Plan ahead, get that assignment in ASAP, right? So yeah, my recommendation, try to submit your assignment at least a couple of hours prior to the deadline. Prior to the deadline. And of course, if you can submit before that, even better, even better. Because you know what tends to happen, right, people? Murphy's law, right? something will go wrong, right? You pulled an all-nighter, you worked your butt off on the assignment, and it doesn't go through. Your internet crashes, your computer crashes. Something will happen. So yeah, I always like to suggest give yourself just plenty of time to submit. That way, if something goes wrong, at least you have time to call FSO support or figure something out, right? I know, folks. This sounds like a lot of common sense, right? But hey, I like to I like to throw out some reminders because they come in handy. They come in handy. All right, so the 2.3 and the 2.4 assignment. Now, I know you guys probably have a ton of questions, and I am going to do my best to let me go through the material first, and then we'll see where we are there. But like I said, this whole session I will be explaining the 2.3 and 2.4 assignments. So yeah, I ask for your patience, please. Okay. All right. So real quick, the 2.3 assignment. So if you had a chance to review the instructions, you'll have read that the first part, the recording part, that part is due Wednesday. That's due Wednesday. The reply posts for the 2.3 assignment are due Sunday. Sunday. And the 2.4 planning a presentation assignment, that sucker is due Sunday. So a little bit about the 2.4 assignment. This is super duper important. This is important. Now, first and foremost, do not use PowerPoint or Keynote or any other presentation program for the 2.4 assignment. So again, let me repeat that because it's really important that do not use PowerPoint or Keynote or any kind of presentation program for the 2.4 planning a presentation assignment. That's just for the 2.4 assignment. Now, why? Why, you might ask? Because the 2.4 assignment is not a presentation. Keynote or Adobe Spark, PowerPoint, those are all great for presentations, for slideshows. But the 2.4 assignment, it's not a presentation. It's a plan. It's a plan. So you really need to use a program that you can just write things out in outline format. I'll show you what kind of program you can use. It's also the 2.4 assignment, it's not a resume cover letter either. So when I open it up, I shouldn't see something that looks like a resume cover letter. A resume cover letter usually starts with, Dear so-and-so, my name is such and such, and I would like to talk to you about why you should hire me for blah, blah. That's usually what a resume cover letter looks like, but this is not a resume cover letter. Cool? It's not a script either. In other words, I don't want to see, I don't necessarily need to see what you're going to tell me in your presentation. So, it's a plan. It's a plan. The whole thing behind the 2.4 assignment is you will be answering in specific detail the questions from the instructions. All right? Okay, so before I fire that sucker open, let's talk a little bit about what programs should I use for the 2.4 assignment. Well, you can use Microsoft Word, you can use Pages if you're a Mac user, or you can use Google Docs. The reason is, like I said, you need to be able to write out your responses. So Word, Pages, Google Docs, those are much, much better. You don't want to use something like PowerPoint or Keynote for the 2.4 plan, right? Yeah, like I said in the previous slide, PowerPoint, Keynote, Adobe Spark, those are fine for next week's assignment, but not for the 2.4 planning a presentation assignment. All right? And of course, again, some more common sense, but I love a little dose of common sense every now and then. Always carefully review whatever program you plan on using. You know, there's a couple of important questions you want to use or ask yourself or look into. First of all, does it cost anything, right? Are there any fees at all? Does it do what you need it to do, right? And does it work with your current device? Right? This question right here applies to whatever, any kind of program that you plan on using, right? Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit more in detail about the 2.4, the plan, the pitch. All right. Now bear with me. I'm going to try not to expose my desktop. Bear with me, folks. 1 second. Let's minimize this. Everybody still there? Okay, cool. All right, check this out. So you should see before you the home page of the 2.4 planning assignment. Do we all see that? Let me know. Okay, cool. Excellent. All right, so this right here is a 2.4 planning assignment. So this is kind of like the overview assignment. Let's check it out together. Designing a presentation without an audience in mind is like writing a love letter and addressing it to whom it may concern. Yeah, not good. Not good, right? So let's talk a little bit about what this assignment is all about. Planning is an essential step for creating and delivering a presentation. You know, much like planning for a hurricane, planning for a wedding, planning for something huge, something awesome, or something potentially catastrophic. There's nothing wrong for planning. I don't think anybody ever regretted planning for a hurricane. You know, some people plan more than others, but for this particular assignment, you'll be much better off planning. All right, so proper preparation allows you to fully craft your story. to identify your audience and determine how to best communicate the most important ideas to them. So this is also the time where you're going to be kind of figuring out what you want to use for next week's assignment. Next week's presentation. Next week is when you will be making your first full-blown presentation slideshow. So this plan, it's kind of all about trying to figure out how you're going to say it, what you're going to use, how you're going to approach it and construct it. So you'll be trying to figure out what kind of production tools to use. Maybe figure out what kind of obstacles you might need to overcome, right? So there is a lot to think about, but now is the time to iron out all of those details. So let's scroll a little bit further down. So you won't be creating a presentation this week. So instead, this week is all about drafting a detailed plan. Keyword detailed plan for your final assignment in this course. What is that? That is when you're going to be pitching yourself, your future self, to prospective employers in your chosen industry after graduation. All right, so let me kind of go over that in a little bit more detail. So next week's pitch or presentation is all about you. You're going to pretend that you're pitching yourself to a potential company, a potential customer or client, employer. So for example, let's just make believe that our dream, you're in game art, right? And your dream is to work with Treyarch. And is everybody familiar with Treyarch? Anybody? No? Oh, okay, good. Okay, feel free to jot down a couple of titles from Treyarch if you're yeah. So thank you. It's a video game company. They've released a couple of like really major league games, such as Black Ops. Thank you, Ricardo. A couple of other titles as well. But anyway, they're pretty huge. Their titles are very significant, very popular. Anywho, so let's pretend that our dream is to work with Treyarch after we graduate. So next week's pitch is just that. It's a pitch to Treyarch Studios. So you're going to be saying stuff along the lines of, my name is Eddie Tapia. I recently graduated from Full Sail University. I would like to talk to you about why you should hire me for Treyarch Studios. Or maybe not Treyarch, maybe Bethesda. Is anybody familiar with Bethesda? Bethesda, anyone? Okay, cool. All right, good. Yes, thank you. It's another major video game company. So let's pretend that our dream is to work with Bethesda Studios. So next week's pitch, you will be pitching yourself to the company Bethesda and talking to them all about what you did here at Full Sail, some of the courses that you completed, some of the work that you did. Maybe talk to them a little bit about your vision, your ideas that you have, because everybody has ideas as far as like what we can do, how we can maybe improve a game, how we can make the company even better, right? So next week's assignment is pitching yourself from the perspective that you've already graduated. Right now, it doesn't have to be Bethesda or Treyarch Studios. I just threw out a couple of ideas. I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit an idea, a little framework as far as what you can do, right? Very good question, Ricardo. Ricardo asks, quick question, what if we wanted to do something along the lines of being an independent artist creator? That is absolutely fine. Totally fine. And I get that. I totally realize that, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't want to work with a company. Maybe I want to start my own company. Maybe I want to start my own label. Maybe I want to start my own indie game development company. And that's totally cool. Totally fine. However, one of the things that I'm going to be talking more about for this assignment it's about research. You have to conduct a ton of research in whatever field you're planning to go into. So let's pretend for a second that you want to open your own label. So what I would recommend is research a handful of record labels. Research what it takes to open up a record label, right? Because if your goal is to open a record label, right, or a recording studio, then your pitch is going to sound kind of like your pitch might be directed to some clients, some musicians or producers or songwriters, right? So your pitch is going to be, it's going to sound something like, here, my name is so and so, I own this kind of recording studio, this is my record label, here's why you should use my facilities. So you can't just say that, right? You can't just say that, because I think a lot of us in music production, recording arts, we know that recording studios, there's no shortage of them, right? Record labels, there's no shortage of them. That's why research is so important. The more you research about your competitors, the more you know what you will have to offer your clients. Does that make sense? Let me know. I know this is a lot. What I'm saying is a lot. I'm going over a lot of stuff, and that's don't get overwhelmed. What happens oftentimes is, well, students, after listening to it a second time, everything makes a lot more sense. And guess what? I'm going to show you a sample 2.4 plan. After I show you guys the 2.4 plan, and after the session, after you review the instructions, I'm pretty confident that you'll feel more confident about how to attack this assignment. Cool. So again, this assignment is all about planning. It's all about researching what you plan on doing when you graduate. So whether it's working with a company, whether it's starting your own company, it's all about researching what it takes to get there. Because your pitch has got to sound convincing. Your pitch has got to convince and persuade an audience why they should pick you. All right, so let me see here. 1 second, folks. All right. So let me see here. I apologize. Nope. Okay. Okay, so right here, folks, are the actual downloadable instructions for the 2.4 Planning a Presentation assignment. As you can see, one of the very, very first things it says is not to use PowerPoint. So just to reiterate, 2.4 for the Planning a Presentation assignment, don't use PowerPoint, right? All right. So page 2. So your plan to pitch yourself to a future employer should address all of the following. Sorry, I can't talk. So one of the things that you'll really, really want to focus on for this assignment is making sure you address every single one of these questions and prompts in as much detail as possible. One thing you'll find is that you won't be able to answer them too well until you've done the research. I wouldn't even attempt to answer it until you've done the research. So maybe have it handy on another monitor or print it out, have it handy next to you as you're going through the research. So one of the things you're going to have to answer is identifying your target audience. The more specific you are about whom your audience is, the better you can tailor your presentation to connect with them, right? So how do you do this? You're going to have to use the internet, of course. Google the audience that you've chosen. What's important to the audience? Try to identify a need that your audience might have. How can you help them with this need? Now remember that the audience, they are the hero, right? We are the mentors. They're the heroes. The other thing you want to nail down is, what is your big idea? Now, when I say what's your big idea, I don't mean that this is the time to kind of like talk about some crazy random idea that you've had for years and years that has nothing to do with your degree program. The idea is essentially you. You are the new idea. You are the new person for their company, right? Or the new studio that they should use, the new label they should go with. Whatever it is, whatever the case may be, the new web design company. This assignment is all about researching that industry. The other thing that you're going to want to do is research your program. So whether you're in music production, mobile apps, sports marketing, creative writing, digital cinematography, I want you to research your degree program like with a fine-tooth comb. This is really, really important. It's important for a number of reasons. It's important for this assignment, but it's really important that you know exactly what you're going to take, not just in month 1 and month 2 and, the last final month before you graduate. No, you need to know every single class that you're going to be taking. The more you know about your program, the more you will able to talk about what it is you did in your pitch, what it is you did at Full Sail. So using your future courses as a guide, consider how those skills from those classes will allow you to help that company. So for example, whatever, let's say you're in game art, right? Go to the main Full Sail website. It doesn't have to be game art. It can be whatever degree program you're in, digital cinematography. Go to the main Full Sail website. I think it's fullsail.edu. Look under programs, find your program in there. And when you click on programs, you should see a tab that says courses. It might be a little bit different, You'll just have to navigate through, but it is essentially there. So once you get to your degree program, you click on courses, you should see a downloadable PDF file that'll show you a list of every single course you'll have to take in your degree program. And there'll also be a description next to each one. What I like to recommend is download that sucker, print it out and post it on your wall. That way you know exactly what you're going to take. You're going to be the better for it. You're going to be a stronger expert in your field if you do that. What's also happened in the past is, you'd be surprised how many students don't really look into their program. And they'll discover that, hey, I thought I was going to be doing this in my degree program, but after really researching it, it seems like that I want to switch degrees, so I'm going to want to go in game art instead of music production. No, that actually happens. So it's important to do that, even for that reason alone. But for this assignment, it's extremely important that you really research your degree program. Flow of ideas. Let's check this out. So now that you know your ideas and the main message, how will you communicate and connect with your audience? So what will you say to them? Right? And here are the questions that they're talking about. Beginning, middle, and end. Now I am going to shift a little gears right here and show you a sample. Who's ready to take a look at the sample 2.4 assignment? All right. So take a look at this. Okay, so check this out. This is a student sample piece. It's a 2.4 student sample. Now, this assignment received high marks. They got a really good grade for a couple of reasons. One is the amount of detail they put in their assignment. They really did a great job of answering every single question and prompt from the instructions. The assignment, their plan is very well organized. It's nicely structured. Everything is laid out properly. So check this. I'm not going to read every single thing in this plan just because it's going to be very, very boring. But just remember that this is recorded, so you can always go back, pause, and rewind, whatever. So anyway, let's take a look at the first thing that the student talked about. The first thing was they talked about their target audience. Who are they pitching to? In this case, they decided that after graduation, they want to work with Netflix. That's their goal. So they researched Netflix. They researched what Netflix wants and all that kind of stuff. This is just a sample, folks, right? Companies are very different. There's no way about it. Anyway, so let's take a look. The target audience is the executives at Netflix who have the power to decide which TV movie scripts are green-lit. They want someone with creative and original ideas who can sell themselves as well as their script. They want someone with, Netflix would be ideal because I would be given more creative freedom as opposed to working for a network. All right. So I'm going to scroll a little bit further down. Like I said, I'm not going to read every single thing line by line, but I wanted to give you an idea of what your plan, the detail that it should have, and the structure and organization that you should be striving for. All right. So next thing, true message. I'm doing this presentation because I want my story or script to be out there for people to see. I want people to connect with it and learn from it and maybe even bond with other people over it after watching my presentation. I want my audience to feel the emotion I use in my voice and in the story. I also want to imagine the emotions they and many others would feel if any script was greenlit. All right, scroll on down. My future self. Now, these are all topics from the instructions. They might be slightly different from the instructions, but if they look a little different, don't worry about it. The main thing that I'm showing you this sample for, the main reason is I want you to see how organized and detailed it is. Right? Okay, my future self. I imagine myself as someone who has worked in the industry, the entertainment business, for at least a few years after graduating from Full Sail. I may or may not have a book published. I've worked my way up in the industry from starting as assistant or staff writer for someone else. All right. So they put a lot of thought into this. They did their homework. They really asked themselves, okay, what do I want to do? And they took it from there. Now, this part is very important. Check this out. Valuable skills I would have learned from my degree at Full Sail are script writing, how to think and write visually, how to do research to make my stories as real as possible, and how to develop stories and characters that appeal to real people. These skills would come from classes such as script writing, visual thinking and writing literary techniques, story development, developing new worlds, environmental and historical research, writing workshop 1, film and television writing. So do you see what they did there? You could tell that they went through their degree program brochure, and with a fine-tooth comb, they decided what courses they planned on talking about in their pitch, right? So what you don't want to do in next week's presentation, it's look at it kind of like a job interview. So pretend this student was sitting in Netflix, right? And they just get up there in front of the Netflix executives and they're like, yeah, I like Netflix. Netflix is cool. I use it all the time. And you really should hire me because I use it and that's why. Right? That kind of interview would not fly, right? In most interviews, what do they want to know? They want to know a little bit about you, right? A little bit about you, but more importantly, what you can bring to the company. That's why you want to talk about what you did at Full Sail. That's why you want to mention some specific courses that would raise their eyebrows. Oh, okay, they took screenwriting. Okay, they took topics on visual thinking and writing. They took topics on environmental and historical research, right? So same thing regardless of what degree program you're in. Same thing is true if you're in game design. If you're in game design and your dream is to work for Nintendo and you have the opportunity to pitch for Nintendo, what are they going to want to know? It's not enough to say that you love Nintendo. It's not enough to say that you grew up playing their games. No, anybody can say that. And guess what? They hear that all the time. They want to know what classes what classes you've taken and what software programs you're proficient in, right? Exactly, Jimmy. Yes. No, it's not enough to say, "Hey, Bethesda Doom was an awesome game. Hire me." No, got to do a little bit more than that, right? So this is why research is so important for next week's pitch. You have to know what you are going to know. The more you know what you're going to need to know, the more you'll be able to convince them to hire you. Why you are the person to go with. Make sense? I know it's a lot. It's a lot right now, but I'm pretty comfortable that you'll feel a little bit better after the session. Yeah, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I know this is kind of shifting gears a little bit, but Lynda.com has a lot of tutorials on those programs that you're going to be working on. So, for example, anybody in music production, audio production? Anyone? Oh, cool. A couple people. All right. Okay, all right. So if you're in music production, audio production, you're gonna need to learn programs like Logic and Pro Tools. And guess what? Lynda.com has tutorials on those programs. Same thing if you're in graphic design, game design, scour through Lynda.com to see what programs they have, what tutorials they have on the programs that you'll be using. Now, one way to kind of discover what you're going to be using is on the Full Sail website. There's a little area that's called Launchbox. Launchbox kind of breaks down what you will be getting, what programs, what software programs you'll be using, what computer you'll be using, what camera you'll be using. That's a good thing to know. All right? All right, presentation flow. All right, so presentation flow, this is where you're going to tell me kind of in a general way what you will be saying in your presentation. Now, keep in mind, I don't expect to see a word for word script. No, just give me a general idea like this. Now, this is pretty well broken down, pretty detailed, but in here, the student really goes into detail about what they're going to talk about in the beginning of the presentation, in the middle of the presentation, and towards the end of the presentation. Right? Okay, so scrolling back a little bit. So, for example, in the beginning of the presentation, they're going to talk about the story of how they got into entertainment writing, right? I would have to tell how I first got into writing. I was 5 years old when I first watched the movie Matilda, a movie adaptation of a story about a girl with telekinetic powers. Matilda was very smart for her age and spent hours reading tons and tons of books, and so on and so on. She kind of goes into detail about how how they got into the story. I'm sorry, that field. Same thing with middle. I'm a qualified candidate. In the middle part of the presentation, that's where you're going to want to talk a little bit about the specifics, the specific professional qualifications. All right. What did you do at Full Sail? What courses did you take at Full Sail? What software are you proficient in? Right? And here they say, I'm a qualified candidate because not only have I been writing several types of media for years and gained an audience, I've learned, developed, and mastered skills from my education at Full Sail that I use today, to this day, right? So that's what they say in the middle portion. And in the end, I want to bring the idea to the industry that anyone can achieve their dreams if they work hard enough. I want to be a success story or inspiration for other people looking to go into not only the entertainment script writing industry, but any type of writing. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit more. Star moment. You will see in the instructions an area called star moment. Anybody know what star moment is? This should have been from your assigned reading. Anyone? Correct. That is correct. It is indeed from the book. Star moment means something they will always remember you by. Something you really want to have this in your presentation. Now, the star moment, it's not when you talk about how much you love video games. It's not when you talk about how much you love music. That's not a star moment. You know why? Because it's not unique. Anybody can say that. I love music. I love video games. Does that mean that Bethesda or Blizzard should hire me? No. No. I don't know how to build a game, right? So a star moment has to be really special, really unique. A star moment can be a story, a very unique story that you share with your audience. It could be a quote, a memorable quote that you share with your audience, or a powerful picture, a series of powerful pictures. Yeah? Okay. So in this case, the student says, for their star moment, I will use evocative visuals and emotional storytelling for my star moments. Images that reference relevant movie or TV moments, or any image that helps visualize what I'm trying to say. Evocative visuals, very important. Now, when I say evocative, I mean powerful. I don't mean provocative. Big difference, right? All right. So this is what you want to go for. This kind of structure, this kind of organization in your plan. The idea, the main thing, the main reason I'm showing you this plan is to inspire you, encourage you to really conduct some heavy research on the field that you're going into, the company that you're going into, even if, keep this in mind. Now, I know that might make some of us nervous, like, oh, I don't know what company to pick. Oh, no. Or maybe you might change your mind. That is fine if you change your mind. But you know what? At least you will have a framework, a foundation to look from, right? Yeah, I'm not gonna hunt you down if in your plan you chose Naughty Dog, right, for your company of choice, and then next month you changed your mind. I'm not gonna hunt you down and say, hey, you remember you chose Naughty Dog? Looks like you changed your mind and now you're in big trouble, pal. No, that happens. You could possibly change your mind, and that is fine. That is totally fine. Again, the whole idea is to get you to research the industry that you're going into. All right? Okay, let's go back to the pitch, the plan. Okay, we read that. So yeah, target audience, this is huge. You have to be able to identify who you're pitching to. Who are you going to pitch to? You can't just say, "Oh, my target audience is everyone. It's all of humanity." No. Right? Everyone who loves music, that's way too broad cuz I think we can all agree that, well, at least I have met some people who love certain kind of music, but aren't terribly open-minded about other kinds of music. You know what I'm saying? You know? So we can't, if we can't say our target audience is everyone who loves music, but yeah, that's important. You really have to be more specific and narrow down your target audience. It'll help you in your research. So know your audience, and research is key. This assignment is all about research. You can't really pull off a good mark, a good grade on this assignment without doing your homework, doing your research. So research the industry that you're going into. For example, just for example, if you're in music production, research companies, music companies, labels, studios, right? Types of jobs in that industry. Look into the company. What do those companies or what do those studios require from their engineers? What do their engineers know? What kind of software programs do those engineers know? Sorry, back up. Let me back up a little bit. What kind of software programs are their engineers proficient in? You know, what some of my students in the past, what they have done is they have actually researched researched a couple of studios in their area, and they talked to them and they said, "Hey, I'm currently in Full Sail. This is what I'm doing. What are some things that you'd recommend that I learn and blah 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 and that kind of thing." And a lot of times they spoke to somebody, they spoke to a human, and they were very helpful. That is really cool. Now, depending on the size of the company, sometimes they weren't able to reach the company, and that's fine. I certainly wouldn't wait to get answers. If you call a company or email a company and you don't hear back from them in 24 or 48 hours, yeah, don't wait. Don't wait. Um, but it's not a bad idea. You know, a couple of students of mine have actually had, some internship possibilities open up for them because they reached out, because they took initiative to do that. So yeah, so find out what software and hardware program they use, um, just by doing some research online. Yeah, you have to do your research. Did I mention you have to research? Yeah, without researching your best, it's like you're guessing what you need to know, right? It's like going. Anybody ever do this? Come on, admit it. Be honest. Has anybody ever gone into an interview without knowing a single thing about the company? Shame on you. Shame on. I'm kidding. No, it happens. It happens, and you can tell, and they can tell. They can tell right off the bat. Yeah, this this assignment is all about that, and you never want to do that. You never want to. Um, it's going to help you in your assignment. It's going to help you in your pitch, but it's also going to help you be a stronger game designer, game artist. It's going to help you be a better student. It does. It really does. So, where to research? Research the interweb, as I like to call it. YouTube. What I would do is I would look for interviews. Like if you have a company that you're interested in, um, whether it's a recording studio, record label, video game company, whatever it is, go jump on YouTube and see if they have some interviews about that company, about the founders. That's really interesting to know. What was their journey like? What school did they go to? What programs did they learn? That kind of thing. Really helpful information. Look for articles from that company. Yeah, good point, Robert. If you are using YouTube, make sure it's credible. That is absolutely true, Robert. Yeah. Like I said in week one, YouTube, it's got some awesome stuff, but it's also got its share of garbage. Yeah, right. Check out the company website. A lot of times the company website will have job postings, and just by looking at those job postings, you will see, oh, okay, so that's what their game designers need to know. Oh, that's the program that I need to know. Check it out. Check it out. All right. Okay. Same thing with game design. Research what they require proficiency in. And even if you plan on working on your own, it's important that you plan on, research your competition. All right. And I mentioned this earlier. Even if you don't know what you want to do after graduating, that's fine. That is fine. But picking a company, picking a specific target audience, you're not really don't feel like you're being pigeonholed. That's not what this assignment is. This, by picking a company or picking a specific area, target audience, it's simply to establish a foundation, a starting point, right? It encourages you to look at your options now as opposed to when you graduate. Because, man, if you think things are moving fast now, when you graduate, you're going to have a lot of people breathing down your neck. Hey, I thought you were going to have a job by now, blah, 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 right? It happens. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the big idea thing, and just to reiterate, it's not about picking some kind of random crazy idea for a t-shirt company or flying shoes. No, it's got to be your big idea. First of all, it's you, and your big idea is this pitch should be directly related to your degree program, right? Okay. Now, the star moment. Sorry, I'm just reading some of these comments. Yeah, that doesn't go away. The pressure is eased by preparation and planning, right? And that's why this kind of assignment research is so important, because it helps you prepare. The more prepared you are, the better you'll be armed with information and knowledge, right? So a little bit more about star moment, just so you know, that the star moment, that will happen during the actual presentation. That will be something that you show the audience or something you say to the audience, right? So, and ideas are just ideas. You never just want to say something so vague like, I want to change the world through music. That could be true. Maybe you really do want to change the world through your music, and that's fine. My hat's off to you. But that's not enough to say that. This pitch is all about specifics. It's about showing your maybe your future boss, the company that you want to work for, some specific things that you can do. So it's important that you talk about your qualifications, right? Because anyone can come up with an idea. And most ideas are ignored unless they're supported with what? Facts, yeah? So you're going to want to talk about your full sale journey, specific knowledge that you have about your industry of choice. All right. So, like I pointed out earlier, research your degree program. Do it. Ideas are cheap results, or what they're looking for. I think I know what you mean by that. Yeah. Sorry, I want to make sure I'm not missing any questions here. Okay. All right. So yeah, definitely do your research in order to fully answer the questions in the 2.4 instructions. That is essentially what will get you a really good mark for the 2.4 assignment. Making sure that, and I will know if you start throwing out some vague answers, some vague responses. I'll know, okay, they didn't really research this company. They didn't really research the industry that you're going into. So very important, at the top of your assignment, please include the following: your name. Yes, please include your name, the date, and the degree program that you're in. Very important. And of course, the title of the assignment. All right, everybody got this. At the top of your 2.4 plan, name, date, degree program, and the title of the assignment. So what programs did I say you can use? Microsoft Word, Google Docs, Pages is cool. That is fine. All right. So I know I've read some. You might be a little bit nervous about this assignment, but again, it's all about the research. I'm pretty confident that after you do your research, while you're doing your research, while you take a look at your Full Sail degree program with a fine-tooth comb, yeah, you're going to feel a lot better about it. Really. Okay. So who's ready to talk about the 2.3 emotional storytelling assignment? Anyone? All right. Okay. Now, first and foremost, who has seen the sample presentations I posted on the 2.3 discussion board? Anybody? Say aye. No? Nobody? Oh, okay, cool. Couple have you. All right. All right. So yeah, if you didn't get a chance to, please make every effort to check out those 2 student samples that I posted on the 2.3 discussion board. Those received really good grades, and they received really good grades for a couple of reasons. Number one, their delivery was pretty awesome. There weren't any awkward pauses. It had really good pacing, really good flow from beginning to end. Also, they really nailed down all of the important topics from the instructions. They didn't just improvise and say whatever they felt like it. They really answered the questions in an organized manner. So yeah, check out those 2 student samples. And I believe there's also even one more sample in the instructions. Okay? Okay, so let's talk about the choices. So the title of the assignment, it asks for you need to pick your favorite piece of art. Your favorite piece of art. Now, art's got a pretty huge umbrella, right? So it can, let me give you an example. It can be a painting, a song, a movie, a video game. It can be a symphony, an opera. Yeah, like I just said, the umbrella of art is quite large. It could be, and if you still don't know what to choose, send me an email. Send me an email like really soon. Definitely don't wait. but okay. So if you're thinking about talking, if you want to talk about something you did, like an original work of art, an original song, a painting that you painted, little warning. Just I have to make this warning. Well, let me share a story with you. So if you're thinking about talking about your own original work, I had a student in the past. Sorry. Okay. All right. So I had a student in the past. He decided that for his presentation, he wanted to talk about a painting that he painted. So the story behind it was he had this painting that he did every summer. He would go visit his grandmother, who was also an artist. So every summer they would get together and work on this painting. And every summer they'd get together, and she would kind of give him some pointers and give him some feedback on the painting. And after a while, when his grandmother passed away, that painting had so much meaning to him. It was very, very special. So that kind of story is really neat. That kind of story is it's significant. It means something. He didn't just say, "Hey, everyone, this is so and so. This is a painting I did. Isn't it awesome? I'm the greatest." The end. No, he shared a meaningful story about why that painting was important to him. So that kind of story is good. That kind of presentation is good. I don't want somebody to just say, "Yeah, this is a song I wrote. It's pretty awesome, and I'm awesome," and you're not. Let me give an example. Another good example. Another student I had. He wrote a song, and in his presentation, he talked about the song. He included a link to the song, but he also talked about the song. He talked about the beginning of the song and what it meant. He talked about the middle of the song, and it had meaning to it. He said in the beginning, this song represents my marriage. In the beginning of the song, it's very beautiful, nice harmonies, nice beautiful melody. The middle of the song, it starts to get a little bit dissonant. Towards the end of the song, it's complete chaos. So that kind of presentation, that kind of story is interesting. It's meaningful, right? So that's what you want to do if you decide to talk about your own original work. Does that make sense? All right. Okay. Oh, somebody brought up a really good point. Um, now, it. How can I say this? Okay, so when we say pick your favorite, don't feel like you're pigeonholed. And you can even open up the presentation by saying, I have a lot of favorites. Like, I decided to talk about my favorite movie, but I actually have a lot of favorites, but I decided to talk about this one. That's fine. I'm not going to say, hey, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? So don't feel like, you're going to get in trouble because you didn't really talk about your favorite. You talked about one of your favorites. That's totally fine. That's fine. And I get it. When people say, "Hey, what's your favorite film?" I have a lot of favorite films. For this assignment, I'm going to talk about this one, right? Okay. So let's go on a little bit. Okay, so 2.3. So sports. Can you talk about sports, football, baseball, skateboarding? Now, I'm a big sports fan, people. But for this assignment, no, we can't talk about those. We have to talk about something under the umbrella of art. So, like I said in the past, um, your options are pretty huge. There is a lot that you can talk about. Everything from a movie, a song, a symphony, a sculpture, a band, a rock band, totally fine. I am totally fine with that. Um, Somebody asked me also, can I talk about a genre of film? I love scary films. I got a bunch of favorite films that I'd love to talk about. Can I talk about a genre film? Absolutely. If you want to talk about horror movies, yeah, tell me about it. It'd be great if you can narrow it down to a couple of horror movies. That way we get a better understanding of the genre. TV show, absolutely. I'm totally fine with that. If you want to talk about Naruto, that this assignment, Robert, is actually how I discovered Naruto. Absolutely. Month after month, I would have a student or two talk about this show, and the way that they would talk about this show, this manga series, was pretty incredible. It was pretty incredible. They would say this show changed my life. This show taught me all about friendship, determination, courage, bravery, and finally I was like, man, I gotta check out this show. It sounds pretty awesome. So finally I checked it out, and ever since then I've been a total Naruto fanatic. Um, Anywho, so yeah, that's how this is no doubt my favorite assignment because I learned so much about you guys. Um, so yeah, I want you to have fun with this assignment. First of all, don't worry about the sound of your voice because nobody sounds nerdier than me. Yeah, don't even go there. Nobody sounds nerdier than me. Maybe Ned Flanders, but that's about it. So, oh yeah, okay. So very important. Check this out. Everybody watching? Okay. You don't need to film yourself. For the 2.3 assignment, you don't need to film yourself. In fact, I don't recommend it unless you really know what you're doing. Some people, they have their own YouTube channels and they know how to edit, they know how to film. If you have experience with that, then go for it. But otherwise, I don't recommend it because when we don't know what we're doing, we tend to improvise, right? Yeah, in my personal opinion, filming yourself is much harder. It's much harder because you end up instead of staring at the camera, you end up staring at your feet or at the ceiling or at the walls. And next thing you know, you're talking about something that has nothing to do with your assignment. So yeah, there's also a tendency to improvise and go off topic. And that is not good. That's not good at all, because this assignment is timed. Now, don't roll your eyes. Because here's what you have to remember. You have to consider that most presentations are timed. I don't know of any presentation that's just, people go up there and they talk for however long they want, for hours and hours and hours and on. No. Most presentations, you're timed. So you really need to get your stuff organized, right? So, yeah, oftentimes when people film themselves, what happens is they end up going over the time requirement. And as a result, they lose points. And no, you don't want to lose points. Man, you just spent some time on this assignment. It's not worth it. You shouldn't lose points. You shouldn't not care about losing points, right? Because how long do you have for this assignment? Anyone? 2 to 3 minutes. This assignment needs to be between 2 to 3 minutes. That means it's a minimum of 2, maximum of 3. Maximum of 3. So yeah, if, you see that if right here? You see what happened there? It got a little larger. So because some people, they feel very compelled that they want to film themselves. So I'm here to recommend. Nice try, Curtis. Curtis is like, 5 minutes, gotcha. No. You're gonna give Eddie a panic attack. All right, I need my inhaler. Okay, I'm good now. Curtis is giving me a heart attack. All right, so if you film yourself, please, no shaky cameras. No, don't like hold it and then start like running through your house and running down the stairs. Please, just set it on a flat surface. Leave it alone. Just set it down and walk away. Yeah, no. Yeah, that would be bad. So that's an if you film yourself, right? And also edit your video, or just make sure you don't go over or under the time requirement. Cool? Everyone? All right. Okay, so just to summarize, for the 2.3 emotional storytelling assignment, here are your options. It can be an audio-only recording. In other words, you can submit to me just an audio recording of your voice talking about your favorite piece of art. That's fine. Or it can be audio with images, kind of like a slideshow. That's also an option. So those are your two options. You can do audio only or audio with pictures. All right. Make sense? Okay, cool. So possible programs to use for the emotional storytelling assignment. You can use Adobe Spark if you want. Like if you want to use pictures, then you can use Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark is a free online program where you can create slideshows. Again, that's an option. You don't have to use pictures, but if you want to, you can. All right? You can use Keynote, PowerPoint. That's fine too. Now, that's just for this assignment, for the 2.3 emotional storytelling assignment. All right? Not for the plan. Jimmy used OBS, Audacity, and AVS for video editing. Cool. Yeah. Or it can just be an audio recording. So a lot of people, they just use their phones. Like when they're doing the audio recording, they just use their phones and record their voice and upload the MP3 file. They use for a microphone, they use the headset that came with their smartphones, and it works out just fine. A lot of students, they do that. You know, I do not expect anybody to go out and you know, buy a really expensive microphone. You don't need to. You can do the job with a phone. Totally fine. Cool. All right. Yep. A lot of students, they just use their phones to record their voice. Okay. Now, Audacity, this is you might find that you don't even need Audacity for this assignment, but if you want to edit what you record, then Audacity is the way to go. A lot of students use Audacity. It's really user friendly. It's free. It's a free online audio editing program. Okay, so folks, don't forget this whole recording, this whole session is being recorded. So if you miss something, don't worry, because I'm going to be posting the whole recording after the session ends. So yeah, so I know I'm going over a lot of stuff. So if you did miss something, don't worry, don't stress over it. Just check out the recording after the session ends. All right. All right. So tips for the 2.3 emotional storytelling assignment. Now, make sure you watch the Julian Treasure video. The Julian Treasure video talks a lot about how to talk in a speech and a presentation. A lot of great tips. And the Vocal Toolbox, those two videos are found on the 2.3 Emotional Storytelling homepage. Right? And please record in a quiet area. For the 2.3 emotional storytelling assignment, some people go and record in their car. And actually, the results are pretty decent. You know? Record in a quiet area as much as possible. Also, label your file. Label your file. So when you post it to the 2.3 discussion board, please label it. Jot down what it is you talked about. Like when you post your MP3, whatever you're posting, make sure you include your name and whatever it is that you discuss. For example, if you decided to talk about Naruto, jot that down. Jot it down. Because the reason I ask that is what happens sometimes is a student will talk about a movie, and they'll give this really awesome description, and it sounds like the most amazing movie ever, but then when they go to talk about the title, it'll sound like, that's why I decided to talk about the movie called... And I'm like, wait, what did they say? What did they... I want to see this movie. So please write it out. Write down the title of whatever it is you decided to talk about. Cool? All right. Anybody nervous about recording? Just Robert. Robert's the only... Okay, all right. A couple. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If you're nervous, I can't stress enough writing out a script. Go open up the instructions. You will see a series of questions. Make sure your script contains the answers to all of those questions. So a script, and you don't necessarily need to memorize your script, but what I recommend is know your script so well that if you were to read it to me over the phone, I wouldn't even know it. I wouldn't even know that you're reading it to me. Does that make sense? So having a script will help you stay on topic. It will ensure that you're really nailing down the questions from the instructions, because that is very important. That's part of the requirement for the assignment. You have to make sure you're answering the questions. So a script also ensures that you don't improvise. You don't want to wing it. You never want to wing it. That's never a good idea. Usually what happens is people end up falling short. They'll go under the time requirement or they'll go over. Then they lose points. Yeah, so and this also helps your nerves. When you write out a script, when you rehearse your script, the more you rehearse it, the more confident you will feel and the more confident you will sound. All right, so I would recommend writing out a script first. Write out your script first. Make sure that your script contains the answers to all the questions. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse it. And then time yourself. Read it out loud. So when you play back those samples on the 2.3 discussion board, those student samples that I posted, you'll discover, okay, yeah, they have a script. They definitely have a script because their speech flows really well. There's no awkward pauses. There's no ums, there's none of that, right? You can tell they rehearsed their script. Yeah, time your script. Your presentation should only be between 2 to 3 minutes long. Rehearse it and articulate too. That's a simple, really easy way to connect with your audience. What do you guys feel when somebody mumbles to you? Personally, when I hear somebody mumble to me, whether it's in a presentation or just talking to me, I feel like they're totally disinterested. I feel like they're kind of indifferent. And passion is key. If you are not into what you're saying, guess what? Your audience is not going to get into it either. So passion is really, really important. Now, your passion might be different than my passion or your classmates' passion. And I certainly don't expect you to sound like Daffy Duck after 12 Red Bulls. No, I don't expect that. Everybody's different. But get into what you're saying. Really? Get into it. Be excited about it. You should be excited about it. Whatever you choose to talk about, I hope you talk about something that you feel really, passionate about. Not just some kind of like, oh yeah, I decided to talk about the show called Friends. It's kind of funny. They're kind of cool, and that's my presentation. Oh, tell me about something that you can't necessarily live without, that you just feel really jazzed about. Not that the show Friends is bad, but it's the way you talk about it. So yeah, don't try to wing it. Do not try to wing it. Do not try to wing it. Don't do it. Don't. There's nothing wrong with the show Friends. it, Especially if you feel really passionate about it. Okay, so quick little test here. How long is this? How long is the 2.3 assignment? Yes, Cody. Thank you. All right, good. Looks like we are on the same page. Yes, this presentation is 2 to 3 minutes long. Don't lose points, people. Do not. I said 2 to 3 minutes. All right. Okay, so emotional. Favorite. Like I said earlier, some people when they're asked to choose their favorite, they get a little stressed out because they have a lot of favorites, and that's fine. But just pick one. Pick one or two. I'll be fine if you choose one or two. Don't start talking about five or six, but but just keep that in mind. And the word emotional too. For some reason that word makes people feel a little uncomfortable. They kind of squirm and fidget in their chair. And some people are like, Eddie wants me to write about touchy feely kind of stuff, and I don't like that. No, when I say emotional, I just mean, what, choose something that you're excited about, that you're really excited about. It's for Pete's sake, this degree program, it's not for, casual, okay, yeah, I guess I kind of like video games, I guess I'll try out. No. This is for, you really love video games. You really love music. You really love design. And all. What the heck do I mean by emotional? That's what I mean by it. Something you're really passionate about. And the key word is story. Don't just tell me about your favorite piece of art. Tell me why it's your favorite piece of art, what it means to you. So this is important. Your presentation, this is not a book report. Ladies and gentlemen, when I hear your presentation, it shouldn't sound like a book report, right? I mean, you can talk about a book, but I don't need to know a chapter by chapter, play by play, right? The main thing, give me a little summary about it, but the main thing is I want to hear about when you discovered it. I want to hear about what it means to you, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, if it is a book, you only need to give me a brief summary. Does this make sense? All right. Okay, cool. So shifting gears a little bit. Important note about PowerPoint. If you're using PowerPoint for mobile on a mobile device, it won't let you record. It doesn't have a record feature. It'll allow you to make a slideshow, but it won't let you record directly into that presentation, into that slideshow. In other words, if you decide to go that route, you'll have to use them separately. You'll have to include your audio separately. But again, for the 2.3 assignment, it can be audio only or it can be audio with pictures. It's up to you. Adobe Spark works well with iPad and iPhone. So yeah, kind of going back to what I was saying at the beginning of class, you want to research the internet as far as what presentation programs are best suited for your current device. Okay, so just a little heads up for next week's 3.4 first draft assignment. That's the assignment where you will definitely need to use a presentation program like PowerPoint, Keynote, and Adobe Spark. So that's for next week. This assignment, you don't need to use one. And for the 2.4 planning assignment, you definitely don't need to use a presentation program. All right. Okay, how do you guys feel about this assignment? Everybody pretty clear on the 2.3 assignment? You're basically picking your favorite piece of art media. And remember, it could be anything under the umbrella of art. It can be a song, a video game, a movie, and on and on. And if you're still not sure, if you're kind of on the fence, hey, is this art? Just send me an email ASAP, and we'll chat about it. Right? So you pick your favorite piece of art and submit a recording where you're talking about why it's your favorite, when you discovered it, what it means to you, and that kind of thing. The most important thing is that your recording include your answers to the questions from the instructions. All right. There's a couple of ways you can do that. You can try the discussion board. There might actually be a way, like a listing of, as far as, because my platform is a little bit different than yours, but as far as reaching out to other classmates, you could try the discussion board. That's one way. The community discussion board is another way. That's on my end. That's one way to do it. My class page has an area that's called people. It says people. So when you click on people, you'll see all the list of all of your classmates. All right. Everybody feel pretty good about these assignments, the 2.3 and 2.4 assignments. These are definitely not assignments you want to wait to the last minute. Most important, have fun. Have fun with it. I am really looking forward to hearing your 2.3 assignments. I know they're going to be good. You guys know already what you want to talk about, don't you? No? That's all right. That is okay. It'll come to you. I know. The possibilities there's a lot of options. I mean, just to give you an idea, some people have talked about the artwork and Dark Souls. They've talked about Breath of the Wild and why it's one of their favorite games and what it means to them and why it's one of the best, if not the best, video games in video game history. Did I say that? Sorry. Anyhow, all right, folks. You know what? I talked your ear off, and I apologize. But I wanted to make sure that I went through the details and showed you the sample and talked about the 2.3 assignment. But if you have additional questions, if it comes to you later on, feel free to email me at etapia@fullsail.com. Curtis, go ahead. You have a question? If you don't have any more questions, you are free to go. Have an awesome day, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. I know we went over a lot today, but get started on those assignments. All right, everyone. If you want to stick around, I'll hang out for a couple minutes. All right. Okay, everybody, take care. Thanks for coming.